Well, hello YouTube, and in this video I'm going to be taking the tunnel off to give the inside a really good clean. This includes taking the seats out and loosening the handbrake so the tunnel can then come off. So let's get into the video. As you can see, the inside is very messy at the moment. I've also fitted some new doors, which is why you can see some metal bits on the seats. More on the new doors in another time, but look, I now have some armrests so I don't have to bang my elbows on the sills. I've not done a good winter clean inside yet. I've dropped the odd zip tie recently and haven't bothered trying to find it if it's gone under the seat because I knew I'd be doing this at some point and taking the seats out. As I now have a white roll bar, I also want to change the cables that I use to power my GoPros and for the external mic. And these run underneath the tunnel, so it's a perfect time to change these as well. It's a simple enough task to do, but as I didn't build Fern, I didn't know exactly what I had to do the first time that I did this. Hopefully this video will help someone that hasn't done it before, and it might make it slightly easier for them. Fern was already on axle stands as I've been doing some other maintenance jobs, so it was perfect time to do this. The first thing to do was to take the Tillet seats out. For me, the fixings are different on either side. I keep forgetting the socket sizes needed, so I've added some helpful sizes on things like this on my whiteboard. The whiteboard has been really helpful over winter, writing down what jobs I wanted to do and also for things like this. I'll move the two straps for the harness out of the way first. The passenger seat has 4 bolts holding it in place underneath the car. These bolts go into a static box section underneath the seat, and undoing them is very easy. It can be a bit of a pain getting the seat out as you need to lift it and also get the other 2 pieces of the harness out of the holes. Sometimes it seems a lot easier than others to do this for no reason at all. It just depends on the angle, I suppose. I've never had leather seats myself, but I would guess it was slightly easier to take the leather seats out as they don't have holes for the harness. The driver's seat, on the other hand, can be a real pain. If you have the standard fixings, that is, anyway. If you have the standard fixings, then there will be a bolt in the lower part of the runners, which will need an Allen key to go in the top of whilst you're undoing the nut underneath. To access these bolts, you might have to move the seat forwards and backwards on the runners. I bet after attempting this 1 or 2 times and also dropping the Allen key where it's a pain to get to, you'll probably look into like a different solution to try and make this easier in future. What you could do is get the bolts welded into the seat runners themselves, which is what I've had done. This makes this so much easier as the bolts don't move and you just need to undo the nuts underneath the car. Again, lifting the seat out, it can be a bit of a pain to get the harness out of the holes. Next, I undid the 2 fixings which are at the back of the tunnel. I think standard these are self-tapping screws. One of mine had a larger hole than needed, so last year I put in a couple of riv nuts, so now I have 2 bolts instead of 2 screws. The head cam angle wasn't ideal when I was doing this, but you can see it. I then took off the handbrake, which for me is 2 grub screws, and then it slides off easily. To get the tunnel off, you have to get the handbrake in the most upright position, which means loosening the handbrake itself, which I'll show you soon. If you have the standard handbrake handle, I'm not sure if this needs to come off or not. Hopefully the tunnel will come off without you having to remove it, as I know mine was a pain to take off. I took mine off to replace it with this carbon handbrake handle, and to do that I heated it up a little bit, and there was lots of pulling and twisting while trying to get it off, but yeah, it was a right pain to do. The gear knob has a grub screw to undo, and then you just untwist it off the thread. I didn't capture this very well on the head cam, so I filmed this again when I was editing this video to show it better. Next is to loosen the handbrake itself. First I need to take off the driver's side rear wheel. It was very hard to film in here because of the light and also the access. But you need to undo this Jubilee style clip first, and then you need to undo these plastic pieces, which are like nuts really. It's a good idea to mark where the handbrake is now, so you can put it back to the same place later. These plastic pieces turn on the thread that are covering the handbrake cable. To loosen it, you want to turn these plastic pieces so they go to the left to loosen it. Because we have loosened the handbrake cable, now the handbrake itself can be lifted higher, as you can see, and now the tunnel can come off. Wow, it's very filthy inside. There are some zip ties which I mentioned earlier, which I knew were there. And I also found some tinsel from when I covered the roll bar in tinsel for Christmas, which I was a bit surprised about. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. It's on my YouTube channel. I'm going to give the car a very good hoover inside and also a wipe down to get all of the dirt out, hopefully. I'm also going to change the black cables that I have for my GoPros and swap them for white ones, as now my roll bar is white. Here she is, and obviously it's a lot cleaner now. I find jobs like this very satisfying to do when you've got something to, show for what you've been doing for the day. To put it all back, it's just the reverse of what we did to get to this point. Most importantly, putting the handbrake back to how it was. It's obviously nice having the car really clean inside. I normally do this about twice a year, but I do take the seats out quite regularly to clean because I use Fern as my daily. To just take the seats out, I don't put her on axle stands though, I just go underneath the car, while she's on the wheels. Hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you have any questions about it, please let me know in the comments. Here's a sneak preview of a video that will be coming soon. Don't forget I'm releasing a video every week this year on a Sunday morning, so subscribe if you don't want to miss out on seeing the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.